Now, we're not quite on top of the world, but it certainly feels like it. Observatories, you can see the entire skyline of Los Angeles.
You see right there is Los Angeles.
I just received a bunch of scans, a bunch of images back from Darkroom. If you've ever used them, they're fantastic. And I had totally forgot that I purchased this back before my trip to Hawaii. Took this camera to Hawaii and absolutely devastated. I destroyed the film on accident by opening the back door, rookie move, and burning out those images. However, I did use this camera recently to capture some wonderful images of my hike up Mount Wilson. That is where this camera or these type of cameras come into their own. Now, a problem with the Horizon, this 202, this wonderful Soviet hunk of plastic, is that it weighs almost a kilo. And if, like me, you like to go out in the backcountry and hike, you want to save weight wherever you can. Now, I like smaller cameras like this wonderful OM2, this 35mm pocket rocket, this beast. SLR, I can interchange the lens on this bad boy. I can take it out and it weighs absolutely nothing. The problem is that this camera will not capture those beautiful panoramic vistas that these panoramic cameras will. Now, if you think about it, the only other cameras which offer such delights, you're looking at the Hasselblad X-Pan, or Fuji has a medium format version, but those cameras can cost in exceed of $3,000 these days on ePot or Instatalk or Facebook Marketplace, whoever you use. And I'm not about to spend $3,000 on a whim, but I will spend $300, which is what this costs, about $300 these days online. Obviously, think about this. The camera is a 35mm film camera. However, the size of the image is going to be longer because that is a wider plane of view. 120 degrees plane of view, which means the image on that roll of 35 is going to be longer, long and thin, panoramic. Therefore, you get less images out of your roll of 35. So think about that. When the film counter on the top right reads in the 20s, low 20s, please don't try to advance that film to get 35 shots out of it. You're not going to. Another point to note with this beautiful panoramic 202 Soviet hunk of plastic is that to develop and scan panoramic images, if you're not doing it yourself, is going to cost you more. Darkroom, I think they charge an extra $10 per roll to develop that panoramic film, which is not nothing. If you consider a 35mm developing cost would be 13, almost double the price for about 2/3 of the images. So it costs you a lot more money to achieve those beautiful images. But you guys, this is a completely different vibe to your normal 35mm, 36 frames of beautiful images. Another method of creating those beautiful panoramic images using 35 is to consider a camera such as the Pentax IQ Zoom. A lot of these point and shoot cameras have panoramic options, but those are not true panoramic images. When you look at the image developed from a IQ Zoom or one of those other point and shoot panoramic-ish cameras with panorama modes, what they're going to do is your shutter window effectively in the rear of the camera, they will just add or crop whilst you take the picture. So imagine you have a square and it's cropped down to a thin rectangle. So essentially, it's still a 35mm frame, but they've cropped off the top and the bottom, like these images here. You can see those black lines. So it's not a true representation of 120-degree image like you're going to get with the 202 or the X-Pan. It's a cheaper way of doing it. You'll get those vibes. An IQ Zoom is $35, etc., etc., etc. But if you want a true panoramic view, That's where the Horizon 202 comes into its own. Now this particular camera was developed by KMZ, and they were made from 89 to 2000. You guys, that's a long time that they were making these cameras. So they're in abundance. It's a fully mechanical camera. Not much can go wrong. No light meter, Sunny 16 rule, so not much can go wrong with it. It's easy to use. It's mechanical. And then I release the shutter. And that revolving, and then that lens swivels around, capturing that vista, burning it, searing it into that film as the lens rotates round and has a look 120 degrees and captures everything. The Horizon 202. Now this KMZ, beautiful, almost a kilo plastic camera brings so much joy to me personally. Now, if you look on the top, this is the leveling bubble, but as you look through the viewfinder, there's a mirror that essentially allows you to see that leveling bubble, because when you advance the shutter and release the shutter, you want to make sure that the camera's level. The plane that it uses is cylindrical. It isn't a flat film plane like a conventional 35. It's a cylindrical film plane. So if you move the camera up and down whilst that swiveling bevel is moving, you're going to distort the image. So keep it nice and straight when you release that shutter. Now on the top here, you can see the different wonderful f-stops. So when I advance the shutter, you'll see right here, this is the point at which I change my f-stop, okay? And like I said before, this is where we change essentially the focus. So 5.56, and at the moment, you can see at the front as well the shutter speed. So we can go ahead and change the shutter speeds on that as well. On the left-hand side here then, this is how we open the film back like any other film camera. Just pull it up. And then open. And then that's that cylindrical plane, as we said. Now, in the back here also is an example of how to load the film. Nice and simple. Just follow the directions and load the film. Now on the right, advance lever. And in front of the advance lever is the shutter count, essentially. Shutter release, and then you can put a cable release in there as well. I'd recommend doing that if you're taking pictures of landscape. Keep it nice and still. Use the cable in there, nice and easy. On the bottom, there is my tripod mount. On the side, we can put these Peak Design beautiful anchors for when you're hiking. And then there is the front of the camera itself. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. Very, very heavy plastic design. Beautiful wide field of view on that viewfinder. The Horizon 202. Why am I holding the 202 on this small portable tripod? Well, because if I put my hands on the camera like I might at 35 and take a picture, I may include my fingers in the image itself on the peripherals, because of course we got those 120 degree vistas. So all I do literally is I put a mini tripod or a handheld item on it, and then I can operate the shutter and get that image without the chance of taking pictures of my fingers as well. In 2024, I decided nice and early on that I wanted to be more creative with my photography. The Horizon 202, it's always nice to try something new. If you've got the money or you find a good deal, this one I spent 150 bucks on off of eBay. If you find a decent copy, if you don't mind the fiddliness of loading the film and the lack of light meter and the fact that it's fully mechanical, if you just want to go out and shoot images and create something you've never created before, the Horizon 202 is a good option for you. Enjoy your photography. Love the images you create, for good or for bad. Light leaks, misfocus, enjoy it. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you guys on the next one, and have a very, very spooky Halloween. Take care. Woo! 202!